Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. I am Sunshine Day, and it is a joy to greet you on this early Monday morning. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Let me know what's happening in your life. I am very, very interested. A spiritual remedy is geared toward people in recovery. You don't have to be in recovery to participate. This actually has its advantages for all. And I see a world where clean and sober people, as a matter of fact, where all people are living their best life and loving it. And what I get a chance to do is I get a chance to provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal transformation. And that's what we do at Be That Spiritual Learning Center. So I want to start off by thanking Be That Spiritual Learning Center for hosting and for producing our show today. Let's say hello to some of you who are on today. Well, first of course, our host says hello and welcome. And we also have Nancy. What's up, Nancy? So good to have you on the show with us today. You know, today I want to talk about um, planning the action, not the result. Planning the action and not the result. And I also want to talk about anything else that you want to talk about. So if there's something in particular that you want to talk about, go ahead and put it down in the chat. Why I thought planning the action and not the result. Hey, we got Sunny Day on this morning. She wants more. She wants more. Good morning. Good morning. Good deal. And also Jan Ford is saying good morning, sunshine. Good morning to you, Jan. So yeah, the topic today is plan the action, not the result. And the reason why this is important today is because, you know, too many times which is great, we operate with the end in sight. Well, some of us do, not everybody. Some people just like, hey, I feel like, you know, doing such and such right now, and they just go ahead and do it without any foresight or any imagination or giving any thought to what will happen as a result of that particular action. Now, when I think about having this idea of planning the action and planning the action, you like this topic, Jeanette? I'm so glad. So glad you like this topic. When I plan the action, it's really about moving myself. What is it about me that gets to move into some kind of activity, some kind of action, some kind of forward motion that moves me to and toward where I want to end up? So when I think about when we plan goals, when we plan adventures, when we plan retreats, right, Jeanette? That blue retreat is coming up pretty soon. When we plan, and when we plan especially for our recovery, for our health, for our wholeness, when we lay down the weapons of mass distraction, those things that have been distracting us from our greatness, from living our best life, and when we begin to plan the actions, what are the actions that I can take that move me toward my goal? Now, Michelle, hey, Michelle, welcome. Michelle calls it manifesting, right? So, what are the plans, planning the actions? What actions might I take that get me to the outcome that I want to get to? Now, why I say plan the action and not the results is that too many times the result might be, what if, I get to use the what if up. What if the result is actually better than I had anticipated in the first place? Whoa. What if the result is actually better than what I had ever anticipated it to be? So if I plan the action and I use the what if up, what if I succeed? What if this is amazing? What if I'm able to actually get more than what I'm really thinking that I'm putting into it? And the reason that we want to look at planning the action is because when I take a look at where I am today and where I want to be, there are steps in between in that gap. Where I am today, where I want to be. Now, this might look like the result, but if I'm already planning the result instead of planning with the result in mind, now you might think that that's semantics, but when I am planning with the result in mind, I'm really saying spirit, life, me, higher self, this is where I'd like to be. And what I usually say is this or something better. This or something better. And I begin to say, well, if I want to be there, what are the steps necessary that get me closer to this result? What are the steps necessary? What actions must I take to see and to get to that place that I wanna be living in, that I wanna experience, that I wanna express? And so when we plan the action and then go, okay, here are the steps that I must take, and I begin to take the action and then take that action. So I wanna know for you, what is that like for you? And what's the difference for you between planning the action and planning the result? Because for me, it's absolutely about practicing the principles in all our affairs. So, planning is really, planning the action is about practicing these principles in all our affairs. So how might my practicing acceptance and honesty and gratitude actually get me to the result? So Michelle, of course, Michelle and I go way back. Michelle says visualization. So you know what? The practice of visualization is actually quite an amazing practice. And visualization is a spiritual practice of seeing ourselves as if we're living in that result. And so when I see myself in that result and living from there, again, I get to ask myself and I get to go, what are the action steps that I must take in order to get this or something better? This or something better. So Jan says, planning the results. I may miss what my higher power has for me. Ain't that the truth? So the difference, and I appreciate you, Jan, for saying that, the difference is again, so if I'm practicing these principles in all my affairs and I'm planning my action, okay, today I'm going to practice being honest on a different level. I'm going to share with people what my body sensations are, what my thoughts are, what I'm experiencing, moment by moment. I like that, I don't like that, I appreciate that, I don't appreciate that. So this idea of planning the results and actually taking the actions towards the result, we might absolutely get something even more beneficial. And that's exactly what Jan is saying here. Like, when I plan the results, I might, higher power, spirit, infinite intelligence might have something much better for me. But when I begin to plan the action, like Jan says here, it keeps me in the now. What am I doing now, right? I still have the end result in mind. I would love to have that experience. What are my steps now? It keeps me in it now. In it now, taking the steps necessary, because it's not magically going to happen. It's not magically going to be like, oh yes, well since I keep my eye on the prize and I'm in the future, I'm future tripping if I live there and if I stay there. However, and it's not going to magically happen. I must, in our science of mind philosophy, our prayer is called a treatment, because what we're doing is kind of like a prescription. We're treating the mind. There's something wrong with the mind. In other words, there's something wrong with our thinking, right? Like in like in alcoholism and addiction, right? We have this mental twist that we're not seeing things correctly. And so in spiritual mind treatment, what we're doing is we're treating the mind. We're reminding ourselves of the truth of who we are, the truth of who spirit is, the truth of all life. And when we treat the mind, what we say is we treat and we move our feet. And so if in fact we're praying for, or we're seeing ourselves and we're planning the action and not the result, but we have the result in mind, like that would be a great experience, that or something better, the what if up. If we treat and move our feet, we're actually in alignment with our principles. So today I'm going to practice acceptance or honesty or gratitude. And as I practice that and stay in the now, what I am doing is preparing myself to receive the fullness of that result. So wow, so many of you are responding. I love this. This is beautiful. Michelle says, I picture myself doing it and how it will feel when I get it or when I receive it. And in that visualization and in that is just like, yes, this is how it's going to feel. Okay, now what do I get to do now? Now I get to plan the action. I get to be in the principles of life, be in that. Nancy says, practice action rather than result helps keep me out of procrastination. The steps to a result seem overwhelming sometimes. Bite-sized action, step by step, helps. Absolutely, and it's those bite-sized actions that we do it. We just, I remember when I first got sober, Donna T used to say, baby, it doesn't matter how big the steps are that you're taking, because you could be taking giant steps towards a relapse. You could be taking giant steps towards unhealth. And you could be taking giant steps towards jails, institutions, and death. Those are big steps. So if you're all about size, hey, but it is about, she goes, and here's the other thing she says, sometimes it doesn't matter the size of the steps as much as it matters the direction in which you take it. You remember Donna T, right, Jan Ford? It doesn't matter the size of the steps as much as it matters sometimes the direction in which we're facing, right? So am I facing the results that I want, or am I facing the other direction? What am I looking towards? What am I bringing toward me, right? And the size, right? Step by step, some bite size, because sometimes what it is that we're wanting to experience feels so overwhelming. Candace, it's so good to have you with us today. Candace keeps it short and sweet, practical application, baby. That's what it's about, practical application. And so when we begin to apply these principles in all our affairs, when we begin to plan the action and take the action steps instead of planning the results. Oh yeah, when I get my mansion, when I get that $10,000, what are the steps that we're taking toward that? When I celebrate my such and such and such. That's all great. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's awesome. And what are the steps that it takes, right? So Ken ask a question, perspective of results. So, okay, you say here, rather than stepping with purpose. So stepping with purpose is in fact, right, like planning those action steps, taking those action steps. I appreciate you on the show today, Ken. Thank you so much for being here. So Jan also says, I can't be in two places at the same time, now versus the future. And this is the key. This is the key right here and right now, that when we plan our actions versus planning the results, it is about being in two places at one time, which is an impossibility. Now, it is important for us to begin to see ourselves and have a vision, right? It's written that a people without vision perish. A people without vision perish. And for people like us who are distracted by these weapons, right? These weapons of mass distraction, whether it be drinking or drugging or gambling or sex or overeating, whether it be that you're addicted to drama or lack, or you're addicted to limitation, whatever it is that is distracting us from living our best life, it's important to have a vision. Here's where I see myself. I know for me that I had to begin to change my vision. When I first got sober, I had to change my vision of myself and my view of myself. Instead of someone who was, just kind of walking aimlessly down the road, I had to actually see myself walking with purpose and living a life that I was proud to live, and living a life of joy, of happiness, of freedom. Living this life, I had to begin to picture myself being surrounded by people who were in their right minds, meaning sober, meaning clear-minded, making amazing and wonderful choices for themselves. I had to begin to see that vision for myself, and then taking that and going, if I want that, what must I do today? And sometimes it's just like, be surrounded around other people that are like that. Learn how to live a sober life. Learn how to be a productive member of society. I had to learn and then plan the actions, even with the result in sight, And that's what Jan is talking about when she says now versus the future. So I have the future in mind. I'm not planning the result, because I have gotten so much more than I had ever even imagined at that time. Do you get that? Like, for me, 36 years later, I never even imagined that 36 years plus would even be my result. I only planned on 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So that's why it's important not to plan the result, but to plan the action. And the gift, the result that I have gotten as a person who's taken the action, that, beloveds, is what I'm talking about, is being in the here and now. Not future tripping, but here and now, and what is possible for me now. So I want to share with you that as you're asking, Michelle, for us, the spiritual life is amazing. The show is sponsored by Vida Spiritual Learning Center, which is an amazing learning community, and we learn to live a spiritual life. I'm going to put up a phone number later on that you can text, and you can find out more information. Look, Jan says, yes, I do, as we're coming closer. Des, hey, what's up, Des? I love you so much. Small steps in positive direction is still progress. Nonetheless, let's go. Let's go. Debbie Trojan, hi, how you doing? Nancy, oh my gosh. If I focus on where I'm going rather than where I'm walking, I tend to get all tripped up. Absolutely. I think Jan agrees with you there. Yep, we get to feel the results. We get to plan the action. I love that. Jason, been missing you. Hello, beloved. And then finally, let's see, a life beyond my wildest dreams. Plan the action, not the results. Absolutely. That's exactly what I want to leave us with today. A life beyond my wildest dreams. When we plan the action and not the results, we're going to get so much more than we've ever wanted. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. I'm looking forward to seeing you next Monday. I want to remind us all that I do this daily gratitude, and sometimes I'm good at the daily and sometimes not so good, but help me out. Text me individually. Text me at 562-928-6460. Text me your gratitude list. I'll text you my gratitude list. I want to tell you that it is not a group text. It is just one-on-one. You'll be texting with me, and I will be texting with you. Know that I feel your love. Thank you all so much for all the love that you're giving me. I love you so, so very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again right here. Make sure that you treat in, and that you not treat in, treat and move your feet for sure, for sure. But I definitely wanted to just kind of say one more thing, and that is on Sundays, I do a weekly live. It drops live on our Vida Spiritual Learning Center YouTube channel. Tune into our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is chock full of things to support you on your road of life, on your road with everything. What I want to share with you is, 9 o'clock on Sundays, it's an inspirational weekly message. On Mondays, live right here with you at 9 a.m. On Tuesdays, we do a prayer treatment. We do a spiritual mind treatment. And on Wednesdays, we drop a live meditation. So if you tune in to the message from yesterday, our own Rev Kev, his message on Sunday were tips for a gratitude journal. And, we already do a gratitude text. So if you have a gratitude journal, that's always another wonderful practice to help you on your road of planning your action and not the results. All right, enough out of me. I just want to make sure that you're feeling supported in this learning community. I love you dearly. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye for now.